Welcome back to Turk Suite. We've been showing you a lot of places around Amsterdam lately, including our favorite cheap eats and our favorite coffee and bakery spots. To round out our favorite places in Amsterdam, we're going to show you some of our favorite sit-down restaurants. From a casual pizza place to Michelin-starred dining, from vegan ramen to our favorite wine bar, we'll cover what we think are some of the absolute best restaurants here in Amsterdam. Get ready because it's going to be a delicious ride. Let's start off with pizza. If you're researching where to go for pizza in Amsterdam, you're likely to come across a few highly rated places. But let me tell you, the best pizza in Amsterdam is definitely from Pizzeria Dope. This spot in De Pipe is literally making some of the best pizzas we've ever had anywhere in the world. And the staff here are always super friendly to us and Bindi. It's so clear that the pizzas here are crafted with care and quality. They also have some really unique flavors and toppings. Today, I went with a pizza called the Gentle Dream. This pizza is topped with lots of mozzarella fior di latte, turnip greens which I've never had on a pizza before, crumbled sausage, and a bit of chili flake. It's so cheesy, making it super rich, but that richness is cut through by the slight spice of the chili flakes and the sausage. Mehmet is usually pretty classic when it comes to pizza. He went with the 4 pomodori, which you can probably tell from the name features 4 different kinds of tomatoes, including hefty San Marzanos, sweet and juicy cherry tomatoes, and some yellow tomatoes and sun-dried tomatoes. Every bite was a burst of fresh tomatoey flavor. Another favorite spot of ours, also in this neighborhood, is Miri Mary. Having lived in London for a few years, we developed a love for Indian food, and Miri Mary is the closest we've been able to come to our favorite London spot, Dishoom, here in Amsterdam. Miri Mary has a small plate concept, which is perfect because we always want to try lots of dishes when we're here. One of our all-time favorite Indian dishes is the black lentil dal, and they make some delicious dal here. It's amazing how they can make simple lentils so rich and creamy. Seriously, we could eat this almost every day. We tried a new dish this time, the beetroot cutlet. This is a spiced beetroot patty served on top of a coconut stew. The beetroot is crunchy on the outside but tender on the inside, and the spices in the patty pair great with the refreshing coconut stew. This dish will definitely become a regular order of ours. We got a few other things to round out our meal, including these small peppers stuffed with rich and creamy goat's cheese. We also got the perfectly grilled Miri's spiced chicken. This tandoori chicken has just the right amount of smokiness and is juicy and tender inside. And of course, we had to get some butter chicken too. This juicy chicken is stewed in a slightly sweet tomato sauce. Next up, we want to share a really special restaurant with you, De Kas. This is our usual go-to spot for a high-end fancy meal. This Michelin-starred restaurant is known for its motto of harvested in the morning, on your plate in the afternoon. The experience here starts off with the setting. It's like they took a 5-star restaurant but set it inside a serene and beautiful greenhouse. You feel fancy, but in tune with nature at the same time. They have a large greenhouse on site that you can wander through. And between the greenhouse and their gardens, they grow around 300 different types of plants that they turn into delicious and unique dishes that they serve here. The menu is frequently changing to adapt to the seasons and ingredients, but is always mostly vegetable-based. To start, we were given a green gazpacho. This cold soup was so refreshing and the perfect thing to awaken our palates for what was to come. They brought over some freshly baked sourdough bread to start with. I love all bread, but this is really a top-notch loaf. They also brought over puffed tapioca crackers, which Mehmet loves. They're super crunchy and light, and so fun to eat. Next up was a plate of turnips covered in a rich aioli-like sauce and various seeds, as well as some beans that had been charred. These beans may look simple, but they tasted amazing. It's pretty crazy that a little bean can pick up so much flavor from a grill. At this point, we're loving everything they've brought to us, and all of the food we've had so far is even before the lunch courses have officially started. For our first official lunch course, we received this beautiful bowl of beetroot and blackberries. I was amazed at how nice this dish looked as soon as it arrived at our table. and we were just as impressed with the taste. There are multiple preparations of beetroot in here, and they managed to give this humble vegetable such a rich taste, which is cut by the tart and juicy blackberries. The next course was somehow even better. Seriously, it felt and tasted like culinary magic. This course celebrated mushrooms. It was also exquisitely beautiful. I mean, look at this plate. Chanterelle mushrooms are prepared in a rich and buttery sauce, served atop a perfectly baked brioche. Then they brought the real star of the show. They shaved a ton of fresh black truffles on top. The aroma of this dish is seriously intoxicating. And the taste, it had richness, umami, crispiness, and freshness. Honestly, it was just so good. Finally, our last official course was cauliflower, with some cooked greens that added a bit of bitterness. This was on top of a sauce which, if I remember correctly, I think was miso-based. I really should have written all of this down at the time. Nevertheless, it was as delicious as everything else. For lunch, you can choose from either a 3 or 4 course menu. The optional 4th course is dessert, which of course we had to get. The dessert literally tasted like summer on a plate. It was a verbena ice cream, a pistachio cookie, and fresh raspberries. Each element had a distinct taste, and when you take a bite of it all together, it just tasted like pure summer freshness. And when we thought the meal was over, they brought over a final palate cleanser, a rosewater sorbet. De Kas is truly a special experience, and if you're visiting Amsterdam, we highly recommend eating here. You do need to book in advance though, so don't wait too long if you're going to add this to your list. If you're into plant-based food but want something a little less fancy than De Kas, then we recommend Men Impossible, a vegan ramen and Japanese restaurant. Even if you're not vegan or vegetarian, this restaurant will blow you away. We love ramen, and when we first heard of this restaurant specializing in vegan ramen, I was a bit skeptical, and Mehmet was very skeptical. However, after our first visit, we were floored at how amazing it was. Men Impossible recently changed their menu. They are now offering a 6-course dinner menu, and given the amount and quality of the food, 58 euros per person for this meal is an excellent value. You can easily spend around the same amount at other Amsterdam restaurants that won't be nearly as impressive. The meal here starts with some nice Japanese tea that they continuously refill throughout your stay. Next up, you get your cold appetizer. This plate has tofu prepared in 3 different ways. And before you roll your eyes at tofu, try this, because it's not like tofu you've had before. They get so much flavor into these little cubes, you'll be amazed. Just this one plate is amazing, but there's so much more to come. Next up is the sashimi course. Of course, this is vegan sashimi, so it's actually made of different vegetables, but I promise you won't miss the fish. Then, the menu moves into its warm offerings, starting with a wonton soup. We were particularly excited to try this after seeing it on the new menu. The soup has a light broth with the most delicate wonton inside. Next, the warm bites. They have tempura vegetables that are so light and so crispy at the same time, a potato mochi, and a vegan version of takoyaki. And then, it's time for the star of the meal, the ramen. They offer a choice of 2 different styles of ramen for this course. Mehmet went with the chef's recommendation, which was the dipping style noodle. For this, they bring you noodles and broth separately, and you dip the noodles in the broth before eating. I went with their Amaze style ramen, which is a saucy bowl of perfectly cooked noodles that looks as beautiful as it tastes. When you mix all of this together, the flavors meld and create this creamy, umami, almost unreal flavor combination. And of course, there's dessert. The dessert course was a clean-tasting matcha pudding and a nice tofu ice cream. If you can't tell by how we're talking about this place, this is truly a great restaurant and some of the most impressive food we've had in Amsterdam. One last spot we want to share with you is Shiraz. You know we love wine, and this wine bar quickly became our go-to spot. They have a great terrace, which is the perfect spot to be on a nice day. They have a large selection of wines and are always great in helping you pick something you'll like. They also have some food. We kept it simple today, just getting some padron peppers and olives and nuts to snack on. But they have larger dishes and cheese and charcuterie as well. The spot is very central in the touristy part of Amsterdam, but its setting along a quiet canal makes it seem like you're a world away from the chaos. We hope this video was helpful if you're planning a trip to Amsterdam. We have a really exciting adventure coming up, so be sure to subscribe and check out next week's video to see what's up next for us.